like, you know what? We have done everything we can as parents.
Jim Bob Duggar just showed everyone that he's a massive hypocrite because of something one of his sons did. But what did he do, and what did the rest of the family think about it? It's all pretty twisted even for Jim Bob. One of the Duggar boys, Jason, just posted a shocking photo of himself on social media. If anyone else posted this, it probably wouldn't cause this much drama. But Jason is a Duggar kid, and we all know that the Duggars have all these bizarre rules that they have to follow. In his photo, Jason was shirtless. He probably just wanted to let people know that he'd been to the gym. Like I said, normally a picture like this wouldn't be a big deal, but because Jason is Jim Bob's son, it was a massive deal. This was the first time we've ever seen any of the Duggar boys without a shirt on. They just don't post content like this. That's because they have really strict modesty standards. The Duggars are basically infamous for all their bizarre dress code rules. I'm shocked that Jason actually posted this photo in the first place. I mean, wasn't he worried about what his dad would say? But I guess that's the thing. Jim Bob is a massive hypocrite, and maybe Jason knows that. I feel like if he was worried about his dad's reaction, he wouldn't have shared that photo, but he did, so he must have known that it would be fine, which is crazy because we know that Jim Bob does not treat his daughters like this. Whenever they do something that goes against his and Michelle's rules, he lets them know that he's not happy with them. In her book, Counting the Cost, Jill actually talked about this, and she said that Jim Bob got really angry at her for wearing pants and piercing her nose. He supposedly told her that she was destroying her life, and then he started texting her Bible verses about how important it is to respect your mother and father. He was awful to her and made her feel really guilty. All of this is obviously horrible. I mean, you really have to feel bad for Jill, but it gets worse because think about it. This is how he treated his daughter just because she got her nose pierced, and yet, as far as we know, he's still on good terms with Jason, who literally posted a shirtless picture on the internet. That's just not fair. He clearly has different standards and expectations of his sons and daughters. It looks like his sons can do no wrong. He doesn't seem to have a problem with Jason posting that gym photo, even though it goes against his and Michelle's rules. And let's not forget that he stood by Josh this whole time. That's obviously not even comparable to anything any of his other kids have done, but it's just insane. He's willing to defend Josh, but he will turn against Jill just because she got her nose pierced? How does that make any sense? I mean, I know that Duggars have some crazy ideas about gender roles, but it's still unbelievable to see this play out like that. Imagine how you'd react if any of the girls ever posted a gym selfie. Even if they were in gym-appropriate clothing, he'd still probably have a meltdown. For one, the Duggar girls were never even allowed to wear leggings unless they were also wearing a dress over them. Pants were just a big no-no for the girls. They always had to wear long skirts or dresses, and their shirts had to have sleeves. Jim Bob and Michelle actually came up with these rules while they were reading the Bible. Reportedly, they went over the book and looked for passages that mentioned gender-specific clothing, and they took that and ran with it. They made all their kids follow all these rules, which is just wild. I mean, I get not wanting your kids to dress super provocatively. It's okay to have some kind of general boundaries, but the Duggars really took this to the extreme, and then they basically used it against their own kids. Jill isn't the only daughter that's gone against Jim Bob and Michelle's rules. Just recently, Ginger shared a video in which she was wearing jeans. Like Jill, she's been doing her own thing for a while now, but it took her a while to get there. She admitted that fear was a huge part of her childhood because of what Jim Bob and Michelle taught her. She thought that she had to wear long skirts and dresses to please God. If she went against those rules, she would bring harm to herself and those close to her. At least that's what she believed. The Duggars' religion is based on fear and superstition, and this really affected Ginger's mental health. She admitted that she was terrified of the outside world. She had terrible anxiety, and it took years before she was able to get over all those horrible emotions. She's obviously a lot happier these days, but at the same time, her relationship with Jim Bob isn't the best right now. It really seems like all the girls get shunned once they decide to do their own thing. Jim Bob clearly sees being a parent as a way to control his kid, and once the kids become their own people, he seemingly just loses interest in them. Like Jill and Ginger, Jessa has also been doing her her own thing. And she's had problems with Jim Bob too. So it really does seem like he just can't stand not having all that power over them anymore. But this is clearly different when it comes to his sons. He seems okay with letting them do their own thing, which is just incredibly problematic. I mean, Jason's gym photo wasn't even the only thing he did that Jim Bob wouldn't approve of. He also recently shared a photo of a meal that he cooked on his Instagram. The important part of this is that he cooked it. The Duggar men are supposed to let the women do the cooking, so Jason kind of went against his dad's rules again. But I really don't think that Jim Bob will actually start treating him differently because of this. And on the one hand, that's good. I think it's great that Jason's trying to learn new skills like cooking, and that he doesn't see it as something that only women are supposed to do. So it's good that he probably won't have to deal with Jim Bob being annoyed at him because of this. If his dad did berate him for cooking, it might discourage him from doing it again in the future. So that part's actually kind of good. But on the other hand, it's still just so incredibly hypocritical. Why can the men just do whatever they want while the women aren't allowed to do anything? It's honestly not surprising that the kids that have spoken out against the family have mostly been the girls. They probably have way more reasons to be upset at Jim Bob than any of the boys have. I mean, Jason even kind of supported Jim Bob and Michelle after Jill's book came out. He never mentioned Jill directly, and around the time of the book's release, he started sharing a bunch of different Bible quotes on his social media. It seemed like he was trying to throw shade at Jill, which was honestly so unnecessary. But at least we can kind of guess where he stands, although his stance isn't exactly surprising. Like I said, the Duggar boys have always been treated better than their sisters. It's heartbreaking to see, but it's the truth. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? What are your thoughts on Jason's recent gym photo? Do you think Jim Bob told him off for him, or do you think he wasn't actually all that bothered? Do you agree that Jim Bob is a hypocrite? Why do you think he seemingly treats his daughters so much worse than his sons? Let me know in the comments below.